Oh, hello there. Right, just checking things out here. It's nice that. I suppose we should do a guided tour of our rehearsals. I was just seeing what was in there, that's all. So if you'd like to come with me, I'll show you around the rehearsal stage. Yeah? Can't. You're right there too? Lovely. Anyway. Hello there. Let's try. Oh, here we go. Good. Now this is our rehearsal room. It's obviously a sound stage, a film stage, and the acoustics in here are very good for rehearsing. It's pretty dead. You don't get a lot of bounce off the walls or anything like that, so it's a fairly true sound. And this is where we've been for the last 4 years in here. And this is some of our merchandising, which we will be taking out with us, obviously. Search of the Fourth Chord. So I used to go and see rock bands when I was a kid, you know, and every time I used to go and see a rock band, I'd learn a chord. I only went for 3 weeks. Anyway, In Search of the Fourth Chord, something that's how it came about, sort of thing. And all bits of rock and roll stuff here. This is some stuff from a couple of tours ago, which I think that was particularly good. And that's pretty good as well. I've never seen that actually. Lloyd, guitar, tech. So hello, Lloyd.
Hello.
Yep. So he works close. He works closely with me on stage, and we utilise most of these guitars. If you'd like to come and have a look, this is basically how it's set up when we play live. So all the guitars are at the ready here. This is my main. This is my main telly, which I call the Rock and Roll Range Rover, because it's a pretty tough piece of kit. And what gauge? Where's he gone? What gauge strings do I use on here? They're tram lines, aren't they? 40 to 56. 14 to 56.
With a
What?
26 wound G.
Yeah, 26 wound G.
Yeah.
And you can basically hit this as hard as you like, and you won't put it out of tune. You know, you can also have a go at playing it as well, but you can hit it. You can hit it as hard as you like. And it's I've had this for about 35 years, maybe a bit more, and it's never let me down. It's a fantastic piece of kit. I don't know another one like it. And these are basically backup guitars if I do happen to break a string, which is very rare. These are all backups, identical. Well, that's not quite identical, because it's got a facelift on it, which is something that I invented to as a guitar overlay to change the look of your guitar very quickly and simply. You put it on and you just sort of peel it off, you see. And one of us cleverly thought to put half of Francis Ross's guitar on and half of Ricky Parfitt's guitar on there, which works rather well. Some little squirt on the side thought of it, you know, her. So anyway, onwards and upwards. So that's that. These are all basically identical tellies, so that no, that one's not. That was a custom built one that somebody built for Fender, lovely, built for me. It's got you can flick a switch or something. How does this work? Can you?
It's got an acoustic.
Come in.
It's got.
Tell them how it works, because I don't know.
It's equipped with an acoustic saddle, so it can simulate an acoustic guitar, and with the flick of a switch, go back to a standard Telecaster. So for a song that has a quiet interlude or a soft moment, You can
A
flick the
quiet
switch
interlude with Quo. You'll be lucky.
You can
A
flick the
quiet
switch
interlude.
and go back to full force rocking.
Sounds like Watch with Mother.
It is.
Now we'll go on to the interlude. Yeah, that's a lovely guitar though. Funny enough, I don't play it very much. Andrew Bown, he who plays keyboards, he plays this on a couple of things, I think. Alias the capo on there.
Yeah,
That shouldn't stay on there, by the way, should it? You know.
change that to,
Yeah, look at that.
yeah, it's been smoking.
Very good. You're too quick. So that's that. But they're basically, you know, they're basically much of a muchness, really. That one's got to have a black scratch plate put on it. That's the latest edition. But they're spares and they're in different tunings and stuff like that. Because should I break a string, obviously, you know, it's got to be replaced fairly quickly. And this is another great old guitar of mine. I've had this for about 35 years as well. And you can see it's seen a lot of wear. But should anything ever happen to my main telly, this would, I think, be the only one that could probably take its place, because this is a fantastic guitar. I don't know what it is about guitars, but there's just some that sound better than others. You know, you can buy one. What year is this? 1950,
57?
57, 58,
Yeah.
around there. You can buy another guitar round from that year, and it won't sound anything like this. It's just finding a guitar. You're very lucky, actually. I consider myself lucky to have found this and this. And at the time, I think I gave about 80 quid for that, I think. But that was a long time ago. It's quite a lot of money then, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a lot of money now. And I don't remember how much I gave this. I think a cheese roll I gave for this one, virtually nothing. But it's beautiful, that. And that's in a tuning. Hang on, I'm getting all tangled up here. So on to the amps then, okay? This was a little invention. I think I had it. I'm not sure. I think it was my idea. Our lighting man will kill me for saying that, because he'll say it was his idea. But I thought that instead of having these as sound cabinets, have them as lighting cabinets, and we get a kind of an oriental effect off these reds. And these are called, I think they're called Molfe, and they're really powerful. They're like xenon headlights, you know, and look great from the audience. Well, how do I know that? Because I've only ever seen it on film. But, you know, I suspect people maybe think they're speaker cabinets, and then, of course, they light up. And these are your normal run-of-the-mill. Well, they're not quite run-of-the-mill. They're a bit... Yeah, they've been doctored a little bit to give a bit more output and stuff. And when we started out, my first amp with this band was an AC-15, a Vox AC-15. And it had 15 watts. And if anybody had said to me, I get a lot of this, if anybody had said to me, that I would be using sort of 200, they are 200 watts, aren't they?
Possibly.
Yeah?
I'm not sure.
Or an amp of this power anyway, you know, it would have kind of freaked me out years ago. But we use a couple of these, and it's all really rooted to this speaker cabinet here, which is mic'd on one speaker to a feed out the front, which comes out of now about 100,000 watts of PA. And there's also, which nobody knows, and I shouldn't be telling you this, there's a Vox AC30 buried in a case around the back there, which is also mic'd up. So consequently, our sound man can get a stereo mix of both Francis and my guitars. And I think it must be fantastic for the audience. You know, obviously I've never been out there to experience it. The nearest I got to it, I guess, I went and saw the Foo Fighters with my sons a few years ago, and sitting out at Wembley and watching it, and the lights and everything, because I don't go to many concerts these days, and it was just amazing. And I'm sitting there going, look at those lights. And they said to me, Dad, this is exactly what it's like when you lot are on, you know. And it so enlightened me, you know, to actually be out in the crowd and really see, you know, what it's all about. And it was a good moment for me anyway. So yeah, for that purpose, this is really as to look good. I was trying to say aesthetic then, I couldn't. This is just to look good, really, because we only really need one of these. I mean, it's beltingly powerful, and this is Francis's one, obviously, and you know, in terms of miking it up, you know, all the sound is out the front, going to the audience, the best sound. We on stage are relatively quiet. Years ago, this gear used to be up there. You used to have to go up on a tiptoe to get to one of these, and we used to call it the Wall of Death, because every amp was on and it was so loud before we started using the, which we'll get to in a minute, the in-ear system. But basically, so now we've been able to turn down on stage so that the clarity out the front is much better. You don't get overspill into the microphones and things like that from too much volume coming from the back line. And as you've heard, I mean, it's still, you know, it's pretty titsy on there. It's quite powerful. So that's that, and this I know nothing about. I don't even know the geezer who plays it. There's some geezer sits up there. And I don't know anything about this, really. I've nothing I can tell you, except a lot of noise comes off it. And this is some new gear that Rhino's just got. The first time we've used this, and at these rehearsals. And he's, there's a thumb. I just found that in my pocket, like you do, you know. Have a thumb in your pocket. He's just got these, and they're sounding really good. So now we've got to try and make them white somehow. I don't know how the makers are going to feel about that, but we've got to try and get these white, obviously, because it looks as if it's got a tooth missing, doesn't it, somehow? But they do sound great, and that's very powerful. And then, again, all this, I don't know anything about this department really, only that he works wonders with this, and how he does it sometimes none of us quite know. He wedges like matchboxes in between notes to keep them going while he nips over here and plays a bit, and he goes over there, and it's basically 2 legs, 2 feet, 2 hands stretching, and how he moves around it I don't know, but he does a great job. He also plays harmonica as well. And a genuine old Hammond there, which is amazing. It's very old, takes a lot of looking after, but it's the most fantastic sounding instrument. Another light cabinet over there. Come round the back. You want to come round the back for a bit? Only joking, you know. And there's a couple of the crew doing what they do best. What are you up to down there, you pair?
Just fixing the Leslie cabinet.
Ah, I see.
This nice old.
And this is what, when you hear a Hammond and the swirl of the Hammond keyboard, this is where it comes from. And of course, you never see any of this from out the front, you know, because this is all hidden behind the gear. And as normally, I mean, back here is chaos sometimes, because when all the lights are up and everything, and there's, I don't know how many miles of wiring here, 20, 30 miles of wiring. And there's the odd plug here, which I'm loath to touch. But you know, you go back all those years and you think, well, you used to turn up with your amp and plug it in, and then plug in your amp, turn your guitar up and play. It's all changed. This is, yeah, it's all through simulators and all sorts of things. And I've never really understood how any of this works, and it's a bit beyond me, being a simple guitarist. Well, just say guitarist. So that's that, and it's just full of you know, voltage changes and everything, and the crew are just incredible. I never understand it, because when, and hopefully we might see in this film at some stage, when all the lights are up and the full rig is up, how they take all this lot down when you see the full light rig is always beyond me. And you get to a gig 500 miles down the road, and there it all is up the next night. It's just quite incredible. I don't know how they do it. I said to one of our crew once, I said, I wouldn't have your job for the world. And he looked at me and he said, no, I wouldn't have yours. That's fair enough, isn't it? Yep. So there's a wheel. Look. See, you've got a wheel on the back there. If you've got nothing better to do, you can play with a wheel. And this is how it looks to him. And thing here which a lot of people probably haven't noticed, but that's to separate so we don't get any spill from the microphones onto the drum mics and stuff like that. And good times from the past there. Look at that. I hope his wife don't see that. Eh? Really good. Yeah. And then we come on to the have you got a set of ears there?
Do indeed.
Is this
Your
what
very
this
ones.
what we use now? And you try and put the whole rock band through there, and so the audience are hearing it through 100,000 watts of PA, and we try and hear it through there. And obviously, I mean, it makes the stage so nice and neat because we don't have these fold-back monitor boxes on the stage. So for the audience, you know, it looks and sounds better because of these. I have my times with these where sometimes I don't get on with them because I've always liked to have it, you know, nice and loud and punchy. And really with these, you can't really go there. You can get so much through there, but you look at all that equipment I've just shown you and you try and put it all through there. It's a bit tricky, but, you know, they work. So really, we have our gig and the audience have theirs. It's really two different shows because we're not hearing it anything like the audience. This is another space shuttle piece of it all, which Tim will no doubt explain to you at some stage. This is the very latest technology, isn't it?
It is, certainly is digital technology.
This used to be 4 times this big, didn't it?
At least.
In 20 years' time, you'd be able to pack this up and put it in your pocket and walk off with it, I would imagine.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you see, I would not have a clue where. I mean, look at that. I have got. What do you do with all that?
I'll try and explain to them a little later on.
Yeah, very good. Thespian in him. There. So yeah, and all this. Come and have a look at this. Look at this. It's fantastic. It's all touch screen stuff now. And again, I don't know anything about it, but and all this controls what we get in our Britney Spears ears, rhyming slang. And that's that really. These are lights. I know what they do, and that's about all I know what does on this board. And here we have another one, and this will be the out front sound monitor desk, which controls the 100,000 watts of PA. And again, much like that one, I mean, you know, I don't know how this works. I don't know what he does. It's all rocket science to me, this. But judging by the reaction most nights, I mean, you know, it sounds fantastic out there. And everybody seems to enjoy themselves, much to the credit of our reliable road crew. Oh, and I haven't explained these yet either, have I? This is, well, it does what it says on the tin, really. That stops it all. You've got to be careful not to hit that one by mistake. And that gives off the sound for the kind of, well, the flange sound, really, of the intro of whatever you want and bits and pieces. And that one is a very dangerous button indeed, because if you just want that, if you want to go to 11, that'll take you to 11. If you're already at 10 and you want to go just that bit more, which is nice sometimes. We all know that feeling. We all want to go to 11 sometimes. So that one sends you to 11. And this is the new set list we're trying to put together at the moment. And we've been in here for, what is it, about 4 years now. And it's nearly there. But you can never tell. You can play and play and play, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. And it's always different when you get it out on stage in front of an audience. The energy is there. You cannot somehow find the energy when you're rehearsing and playing to a wall. People power gives you just energy. Sometimes I don't know where it comes from. But we're just hoping that the fans are going to like this set, and we've yet to try it ourselves yet, but there's a few old favourites in there which I think they'll like. So that's that. Now I shall take you over to my office. This is my office. always have my office at rehearsals, because when you get to my age and you've done 4 or 5 songs, it's nice to come and have a nice old sit down there and have a gander through here. You know, I know what's in there, but I always seem to look through it all the while. And we spend half our life signing these things, and I don't know who they're for, but we must sign about 1 million of those a year. And so this is my little office, which I quite enjoy. And that's that, really. So this is Quo rehearsing. And I shall hand you over to my little tiny friend here, Lloyd, and he'll explain a little bit more, won't you?
I will do, sir. Yes.
We were trying to get a bottle, actually, because we're at Shepperton Film Studios, and he went round the corner, and there's one of the props department, and they've got those smashable bottles, you know, the plastic smash bottles, and we tried to get one. Because he was going to do something wrong, and I was going to hit him over the head with a bottle, which would have made a great bit of film, wouldn't it? But we didn't manage to get that. So with a bit of finger ease there, toning finger ease, which is nice. I spray that on my hands every night, don't I? And I'll hand you over to him, sorry. Okay, bye.
Hi, my name's Lloyd. I'm Rick's guitar tech. Look after his stuff basically in a live situation. Let me just give you a quick run through of what he uses and how it works. So we'll start with the guitars. So this is Rick's main guitar. I don't know if he's explained, it's basically a 62 Telecaster. Not a lot of originality. We've had the bridge changed many times. It's now kind of a wrap over scenario, just because he hits the guitar so hard, and the string gauge is 14 to 56, which is, you know, a lot heavier than most people would deal with. But it's an old style kind of string gauge, and it suits rhythm playing. It's rock solid. It's a Lindy Fralin pickup as opposed to a Telecaster pickup, which is basically kind of like a hot P90 pickup. It's almost like a single coil Gibson pickup rather than a Telecaster pickup, just to give it that little bit more bite. But it's nice to keep a single coil sound. Most people go down the route of humbuckers these days, or noiseless pickups, but it's just part of the Quo sound is that old 70s single coil pickup. The second guitar that Rick uses for open G songs, Mystery Song, Hold You Back, stuff like that, is a 57 Esquire, pretty much original apart from the bridge, which have just replaced recently because the old one was getting quite sharp and sweated up, so just replaced that with a 6-saddle bridge. This guitar stays in open G tuning and is capoed at the 2nd fret, so it's actually set up for that purpose and that purpose alone. But I think that Rick would see this as being the only substitute for the main guitar if anything, touch wood, were to happen to it. And finally, Rick uses an old a reissue Melody Maker for the song 4500 times. It's basically 2 Bs and then standard tuning from there down. But the string gauge on this is even heavier. This goes a 14 to a 60 because of the low B tuning. It's the only thing that will hold that kind of tuning, being on a short scale guitar. And other guitars we may use occasionally if they try new songs. I try and keep 2 or 3 spares of everything around. But luckily, as I say, with the guitars, it's very, very unusual that he's going to break a string with that kind of gauge. So you know, it's more a case of if they want to try new songs out or try different tunings. But as I say, you know, I have done tours before. I've taken 10, 12 guitars out before, so this is quite nice, quite compact, and it serves its purpose. So if we walk this way, I'll show you the guitar rig and basically explain to you how it works. Both Rick and Francis run very similar rigs, although their styles are very different. The actual guitar rigs are exactly the same. So we start off with the guitar coming into the wireless system. It then routes out to 2 amplifiers on Rick's rig, one being an AC30 and one being a Marshall JCM 800. Now the AC30, the actual chassis of the AC30 combo is built into a Marshall head, which is out the front, which I'll show you as we go around the front as a cheat. And of course the 800 is there. Sitting between the 800 and the 4x12 is a speaker simulator. So in effect, the front of house guy and the monitor guy get 3 signals of guitar. They get the AC30, they get the Marshall signal, and they get a simulator signal, which means they don't have to use the guitar cabinet sound on stage. They can use a simulator signal to get a cleaner or a more bassy sound, depending on what they want to do, depending on the venue. The cheat of the whole thing is, over in these cabinets that live off stage, is the bottom half of the AC30 combo. So it's just the speaker cablets of the AC30 combos with a speaker line running from the head on stage. So that means that we can use this at any volume without affecting anybody on stage or off stage. Keeps the bottom end nice and loud and tight, and also when you turn the guitar down, it keeps the guitar sound constant. It doesn't wane off like it does with most amplifiers. You keep a nice heavy sound going all the time. So just one quick thing before we go around the front. Rick uses very little effects, just chorus and flange on the old classics like Whatever You Want and Mystery Song. It's all done from a Roland GP8, just one patch we use on that, which is just literally chorus and flange, and he kicks that in and out from a pedal that's out the front, which I will show you in due course. So coming around the front, here we see Rick's rig. Consists of two heads, the 800 as I said, and the AC30 chassis put into a Marshall cell just for aesthetics, really, just to keep it nice. A spare of each obviously underneath, so it makes a nice tidy unit. The 800 just runs into one single 4x12 cabinet, which is loaded with GT75s, so it's a 300 watt cabinet. That basically is more or less these days just for on-stage monitoring. We do mic it up, but I guess that the sound guy and the monitor guy tend to use this simulator and the AC30 for their wishes, really, and we can keep this at a reasonable level. As Rick probably told you in the past, it was phenomenally loud on stage, and they would be deaf by now if they carried on doing it, and so would everybody around them. So it's a nice comfortable level we keep it at, although it is still loud by most people's standards these days. Most people tend to play at small volumes, but one thing we do is the actual gains of the amps are kept down to a minimum, so it's not your heavy metal overdrive type sound, it's more of the traditional British rock sound. So the preamp and the master volume both on about 1 o'clock, which gives you room for, it's not that fizzy gain that you're used to, so it keeps it nice and tight. So if I show you the guitar in action now, so Rick has a control board out here that I have off stage as well, so I can replicate what he does here. So there's a master mute switch which basically just brings in the signal. So at any given time, any problems, any string changes or any guitar changes, he can mute or I can mute, so it's quiet. You don't get any clunks and bells and whistles like you do tend to hear quite often. Rick uses two pedals live, basically, or two effects live. One, the GP8, as I said before, which is just a flanger and chorus. The only other effect he uses is basically a gain, but all it is in effect is a Roland G7 graphic pedal. So it's not actually a distorted gain, it's just a clean boost. So it takes the signal up. That just gives you a jump in level just for the beginning of Caroline and any pieces where he needs to stand out, because he doesn't play any solos as such, or many solos. And that's basically Rick's rig in a nutshell. One last thing, because Rick plays the guitar with quite a ferocious action, he tends to let go of picks, and we've devised, or over the years they've devised a method of helping him hold onto the pick, which involves putting 4 little holes into the pick with a bradawl and a hammer. Now we've debated the idea of having the picks made with the holes in, but obviously you wouldn't get the knurled edge that you get from putting the holes in. So the last part of my day, after everything is set up and everything's in tune, is just to take a hammer and a bradawl and work my way through about 20 picks, depending on what kind of venue we're playing. He might give away 2 or 3, or he might give away 10. So that's the last part of my day. I find it quite therapeutic to put the holes in things, and when I'm doing this, that means that we're ready to go. Okay guys, just to prove that there is a science to this and it isn't random, if we look at the pick, we can see the Jim Dunlop 1mm wording on the back. Now I use those letters as a template. The first hole goes in the S of the USA. Second hole goes right in the centre of the N of the word nylon. Third hole goes in the centre of the N of the last letter of the word nylon. And the fourth hole goes between the 1 and the 1mm sign.
Yeah, I'll get that right one of these days. Right, powder chords. That'll do for today.
That's great.
Yeah, that's good. So anyway, this, you know, where is he? Lloyd? Oh, there you are.
Thank you.
Right, there you go. Sorry, I thought I was still attached to it. No, I'm not. We're all right.